Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. LoFi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Roll Call Podcast. I am Joe Aguirre along with Anthony Altamirano. Anthony, thank you so much for being with us here today. Obviously, look, the Yankees have had a tremendous first half, 64-28 record, best in baseball. 4.5 up right now on the Houston Astros for the best record in baseball, 13 up on Tampa Bay. And the way they've done it, Anthony, 199 run differential, best in baseball. They've scored 5.5 runs a game. They've given up 3.24 runs a game, 157 homers. All these numbers lead baseball. 776 OPS, a 37.9 WAR, and the Yankees hit the break. They're starting pitching, rocking a 3.05 ERA. Obviously, big things here going on for the second half. The name Juan Soto keeps coming up. I'm not sure that that's the right move. I don't think you want to break up the Yankees just yet. And you and I were talking a little bit yesterday. I think the obvious need is pitching, especially with Severino hurt, with Nestor Cortez on some kind of innings limitation. It would probably be a good idea for them to shore up this pitching for the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that they have definitely some options they can go. I think starting pitching is where you want to go. Like you said, with Severino and Cortez and, Jameson Taillon has been slowing down too. So there's additions to that. And when you get deep into the postseason, you really want somebody who can go for multiple innings on a long stretch and maybe help some of their starters out. Garrett Cole, you want him to get enough rest. And a guy I think that comes up not enough in talks at the deadline is Luis Castillo of the Reds. I think he could be a guy who can help the Yankees in the postseason run.
Let me ask you this. If Anthony Volpe or Jason Dominguez's name were to be associated with that trade, are you for it or against it? And here's why I'm for it, Anthony. These guys never seem to pan out. For every Derek Jeter and Aaron Judge, there's Blake Rutherford and Dylan Tate and a lot of these guys who not a hype and they don't live up to it. And I talked to you about my concern about Anthony Volpe is we want him to be the next Derek Jeter and turn the kid's baseball card around. Derek Jeter, right? The numbers were solid. They weren't great. The greatness came in the championships. It came in the intangibles, the catch, the flip, and some of the amazing things that Derek Jeter did. I don't even know what the standard this kid has to live up to is, because it's nothing you can define in a quantifiable fashion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got a lot of hype for these players. Dominguez, of course, was in the futures game a couple nights ago. So maybe don't throw him away for maybe 2 years unless you have an agreement from Castillo. Another guy I like to look at is David Bedner of the Pirates. And when I talk about him, he's a couple years away from arbitration. So you're thinking the Pirates are going to want a big package for him. A guy like Oswald Peraza might be a guy you want to throw in a package to get a guy like that. You got a lefty heavy bullpen in New York, and it'd be good to add a righty. If not Castillo for a starter, then get Bedner for a reliever role.
I'll say this about the Yankees bullpen. It's been outstanding, and it's been very patchwork when you think about Aroldis Chapman being hurt and otherwise being ineffective. Coming back, he's been pretty terrible. Clay Holmes, a little bit of a hiccup at the end of the first half. Been outstanding since he's been in pinstripes. Zach Britton's been out all year. Loizaga's mostly been out. Green's been out. And it's been a patchwork of, guys like Luque and Castro, who's currently on the DL. But it seems like, and look, Michael King's been such a pleasant find by the Yankees. Sort of a throw in that Marlins deal a couple of years ago, and he's been great, and he's given this team a ton of flexibility. It was the reason they were able to even put Holmes in the closer role. So yeah, I'd like to see them do something in the bullpen. I think you can do something decent getting a bullpen piece without it costing you major prospects. The thing I keep hearing with this Soto trade, and I just saw it proposed a little while ago. Let me bounce this one off of you. It was Soto and probably Patrick Corbin in his ridiculous contract for Gleyber Torres, Nestor Cortez, Jason Dominguez, and Anthony Volpe.
Yeah, I would never do that trade. No way. I would.
So let me tell you this, right? You and I talked about this the other day. In 99, when the Yankees were on the way to winning their second of 3 in a row, they made a trade for David Justice. And they needed a little bit of a tune-up. It was fine. They had already won a championship. This team compares favorably to the 98 team, and the 98 team at the trade deadline that year did nothing. They didn't need to. And I'll tell you this, left field was still a rotation of Darryl Strawberry, Shane Spencer, Chad Curtis, Tim Raines. It was, they would stick all sorts of people out in left field. They didn't get a ton of production from. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
I know Anthony Gallo's terrible. The defense has been fine. Whatever. People are going to complain about Gallo. Great. He's probably a goner. It makes sense. Whatever they can get for him. If you trade him to a team for, another outfielder, you're not going to get anything great for him. I think if you can get a big contract, not that I'm suggesting this, but a guy like Robinson Cano, again, not that the Padres would be looking to push him at this point, but I'm just saying somebody like that who's got kind of a bigger contract that not going to be a huge impact, but again, you could get. Let's talk about Matt Carpenter for a minute, because my God, I got into an argument when the Yankees signed him, and one of the Facebook groups I'm in, and they were like, "Dude, he sucks." But some Cardinals fans were like, "He's terrible," and I was like, I think the Yankees like something about him. I don't think the Yankees would have went out and picked him up if they didn't. He's hitting .360 with a .473 on base percentage, a .933 slugging percentage, a .1406 OPS, all number one in baseball with a minimum of 90 plate appearances. Now, it wouldn't qualify, obviously, for the league lead, but again, with enough at-bats, this guy's having tremendous numbers. In his last 6 starts, a .647 average, 4 homers, 9 RBI, and he scored 7 runs. Brian Cashman's done a really good job of plugging some guys in here. Tim LeCastro, 3 hits and a homer against Boston, a stolen base. The Yankees seem to do well. So I don't see a need for Juan Soto. I really don't. I love him. I get it. I want Judge.
Yeah. I think adding a guy like Ian Happ would be like a really good move. And that's something that I don't think is talked about a lot. Ian Happ, what would you even, throw out to the Cubs for that? It might not be even anywhere close to what the Washington Nationals are going to want for Juan Soto.
Yeah. I think that's where the Yankees need to be at with this. I understand the idea of getting a kid 23 in his prime and how rare that is in baseball. And I understand the concern with giving Judge a big contract at 30. I understand both of those things. But Aaron Judge is a Yankee. He's for all intents and purposes the de facto captain. It shocks me, Anthony, that anybody who has watched this team for the last 6 years would think any different about the state of the New York Yankees and who's the heart and soul of this team, because much like the 98 team, it was outfielder Paul O'Neill was the heart and soul of the team. And he was always a little banged up, I feel like that guy's hamstring was always pulled. But he played through it, and he hobbled, but he was the heart and soul of the team. That's what Aaron Judge represents right now.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think anybody that would want to get rid of Aaron Judge is crazy. Like, why would you, Judge? When you think of the Yankees, you think Judge. You don't think anybody else but him right now.
By the way, the Yankees hit this All-Star break with a 500 record. This is the 26th year in a row that they've hit the break. That's the second longest streak in Major League history. Only the 33 to 1964 Yankees have done better. Again, dude, just goes to show this team is unbelievable. And let me put one last thought to rest. Garrett Cole has 12 games with 12 Ks and no walks while pitching in the American League. Chris Sale and Roger Clemens are the only guys that have done it as often as he has. He's going to set the Major League record, and he's in the third year of a 10-year. Like, that's a record he's going to smash. He's the ace of this staff. Make no mistake about it. He hasn't pitched great against Boston. He has the occasional hiccup. He's an ace, undisputed ace of this staff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, he can go for maybe even his old contract the way he's been pitching now. I don't see why at the end of his contract he might not still be pitching like that. I mean, look at Verlander a couple years ago. He was in his late 30s and he's still pitching pretty good.
Yeah. What's your diagnosis for this team second half? What do you see this team doing? Do you think they stand pat or make moves?
I don't know if realistically they make moves. I mean, they might. I don't think they will make any big major moves. They really haven't. Of late, they've made small, amazing moves like Matt Carpenter, and Jose Trevino was even an underrated move that they got last offseason. So I don't see them making any really big changes. It'd be great if they would, but I do see them still being successful throughout the rest of the season and still being the best team in baseball. I mean, there's no reason anybody should think otherwise.
Percentage, this is championship 28.
Ah, man. I got to say 65.
Ooh, wow.
I'm going to go highball on that. Yeah, I'm going to go highball.
Anthony, I know you got to run. I appreciate you coming on the roll call. We'll get you back on here real soon. I'm going to take a quick break. Thank you to Anthony Altamirano. We'll be back after a quick break on the Roll Call Podcast.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
Here's what I got to tell you. If you're a Yankee fan right now, this team is outstanding. This is the team that we've wanted for years. Enjoy this. I know Anthony Gallo's not great. I know Kyle Higasioka's hit like garbage, and Aaron Hicks hasn't been what he was hoping and what we've all been hoping that he would be. You need to enjoy this. I see way too many people on social media bitching about this. I can't for the life of me understand how you can't be enjoying this night in and night out. This is, again, as a guy who lived through 98 and enjoyed every moment of that season, I promise you the season's going to be over if the Yankees get banner number 28 and you miserably went through this whole season. I promise you, you'll be kicking yourself. This team's going to make some changes. Anthony Gallo, his days are done in New York. Trust that. So stop going on social media complaining about it. Get a therapist or talk to your wife about it. We all get it. It's frustrating. Somebody's got to make the outs. This team's off to a historic start despite that, despite all the injuries in the bullpen. Enjoy this. Yanks currently are trailing the Astros 2-1 in the fifth inning. Small ball, the deal in that game. Houston put up a couple of early runs in this game, playing small ball. LeMahieu's playing third base today. For everybody who's LeMahieu could play third. LeMahieu got two bunts in a row to start the game. First and second, nobody out. That's how the ball game started. Josh Donaldson is an all-star third baseman. LeMahieu's pretty fantastic. He's a Gold Glove winning second baseman. Don't forget that. The Yankees don't have the depth on some of these positions that you think they do. Miguel Andujar's not a good outfielder. That's the only reason he's not up in the majors hitting right now. That's it. We know he can crush major league pitching. There's no position for him. Jordan Montgomery and Christian Javier going at it in the first of two in Houston today. Montgomery 3-2. The record deceiving, a 3.34 ERA, 85 strikeouts. He's been fantastic. The Yankees haven't been able to figure out Christian Javier much. LeMahieu did just hit a homer a little while ago. He comes in 6-5, a 3.09 ERA with 114 strikeouts. Game 2, Luis Garcia starts for the Astros, 7-5, 3.65 ERA, 94 strikeouts. Domingo Herrmann finally back in, well, not pinstripes because they're in the road graves today, but back with the Bombers after quite a layoff. He's going to slot into Luis Severino's spot for the time being. I could see down the road this team possibly going to a six-man rotation, or assuming Severino makes it back, maybe he ends up sliding into Cortez's spot in the rotation. As good as Nestor's been, he's on an innings limit here. Understand that. Yankees head to Baltimore tomorrow. They'll be getting in around 3 or 4 in the morning, so expect a sluggish Yankee team live from Camden Yards. Jameson Taillon, 10-2, a 3.86 ERA and 82 strikeouts. He's going to be pitching for the Bombers. Tyler Wells, 7-5, 3.38 ERA and 59 Ks for the 500 Orioles, 46-46 at the break. An unbelievable turnaround. Saturday, Garrett Cole on the bump, 9-2, a 3.02 ERA, 147 strikeouts. Garrett obviously pitched last Sunday. Didn't participate in the All-Star game despite the selection. Jordan Lyles pitches for Baltimore, 6-8, a 4.76 ERA, 91 strikeouts. And then Sunday, Nestor Cortez back on the hill, 7-3, a 2.6 ERA, 99 strikeouts. So cool to see him and Jose Trevino in that All-Star game the other night. Boy, that was a lot of fun, as was Giancarlo Stanton's 457-foot bomb into the bleachers where he used to sit as a boy. Dean Kramer pitches for Baltimore, 3-1, 2.59 ERA with 32 strikeouts. I'll tell you how the second half is going to go for the New York Yankees. This team has got to, and so far today, it's been a continuation of, I feel like, what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. A lot of guys on base, and the big hits just haven't really been coming. Yanks are 4-6 in their last 10. It's their worst 10-game stretch of the season. There's a lot of teams out there that are dying for a 4-6 10-game stretch. So Yankees are going to be fine. Okay, don't worry about this team. They're going to make some adjustments. They're gonna revamp this team a little bit. You're going to see somebody out there in left field. I just don't see Juan Soto being a realistic possibility at this point for the Yankees. I don't like the idea of breaking this team up at this point in the season. I don't think that makes any sense. Assuming there's no catastrophic injuries between now and the deadline, I don't know that a move is paramount to this team continuing to play the way that they've been playing. So my advice to you, enjoy this team and enjoy the run that they're on, because you may never see anything like this again in your lifetime. Check out our website, clovercrestmedia.com/The Roll Call Podcast. We're on Facebook, where we're live right now, The Roll Call Podcast. On Twitter, @The Roll Call Show. And we're also on Instagram, @The Roll Call Podcast. Big thank you to Anthony Altamano for sitting in for Eddie Griffin, dealing with a death in the family. COVID's still obviously alive and well and still really having a terrible impact. So we'll get Eddie back here real soon. Again, big thank you to Anthony. I'm Joe Aguirre. That's going to do it for this week's Roll Call Podcast. We'll be back next Thursday after the Yankees couple of games at Citi Field in Queens. We'll be back for that. Enjoy the Yankees. Until then, this is the Roll Call Podcast.
Can I get a roll call? Rocks, bombers, let's get it up. Hit the field, let's play ball. Go home, we stand tall. So can I get a roll call? Rocks, bombers, let's get it up. Hit the field, let's play ball. Go home. Hicks on the run, dives, and he made the catch. He made the play.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership.
We can expect another wet summer in Connecticut, and that means more mosquitoes than ever. If you don't have your home serviced for mosquito control and you find you're spending most of your outside time swatting those little pests, or you did have your yard sprayed but you still have bites all over your body, you're in luck. Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut provides the best value in mosquito control services because of how they treat your yard using the Mosquito Shield tailored treatment system. All mosquito control service is not the same. They don't use a fixed schedule or an identical product, one-size-fits-all service program. You can't control mosquitoes on a set number of sprays or visits. Unlike the competition, Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut will service you for the season, whatever it takes to provide superior results. The promise has awarded them an industry-leading customer retention rating of 90%. Visit MosquitoShieldCNCT.com to schedule an appointment with Wade DeCesare and enjoy the rest of the summer mosquito-free.